Welcome to the Mental Breakdown. I'm your host, Sean Jackson. Back on the 31st of January at Victory 23, I came back from an injury sustained at Seasons Beatings, in which I was involved in a match with Spectre called Shock Therapy. Between Seasons Beatings and Victory 23, I was actually in a hospital and at home rehabbing. Well, I was cleared to come back, and my first match was against the man, the myth, the legend himself, Doozer. I got to give Doozer a lot of credit. He is everything that they build him to be. Although he was extremely lucky, because Doozer, if I would have caught you with the lights out game called Due to Darkness, the high knee to the back of your skull, the results of that match would have been entirely different. But don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to shortchange you. I'm not trying to take away from your victory. I'm right here on this show admitting that you did win, you did beat me. But Doozer, you have to admit, I gave just as well as I received. And I'm just going to say that had it not been for the time out of the ring, things might have been just a little bit different. But again, you win. You won. I lost. And we'll leave it at that. Coming up on February the 14th at Victory 25, it's a chance for redemption. It's a chance that I get to prove that the loss to Doozer was a fluke, as I get to go up against his stablemate, Will Haynes. Will the Thrill Haynes from Athens, Georgia. You know, I've got to put this out here. Please forgive me, but if I hurt somebody's feelings, I really don't give a damn, because hey, it's the Mental Breakdown. It's a show for Dynasty members, Sean Jackson, Perfection, La Flama Blanca, in which I get to point out all the good things and the reason why that we are the absolute best in Wrestle UTA. Will Haynes from Athens, Georgia. You know, I had an opportunity to go to Athens, and not the part of Athens to where, you know, they pour in millions of dollars and they want you to see the downtown area, the renovations, the clubs, and all that. No. I didn't go to the fake part of Athens, Georgia. I went to the real part of Athens, Georgia. The part of Athens, Georgia, where you will find the street thugs, the prostitutes, the gangbangers, the people that Will the Thrill Haynes, the people that he can associate with best. Individuals like Coleslaw Jenkins, individuals like Doozer, individuals like Mikey Unlikely, individuals like that fat slob Bobby Dean. Now, do I mean to be derogatory when I call Bobby Dean a fat slob? No, not at all. I don't mean that to be derogatory at all, because how can it be derogatory when it's the absolute truth? How can it be derogatory when I'm speaking about Doozer, Mikey Unlikely, and Will Haynes? Because look at how they are dressed. Look at how they present themselves. Look at the individuals that they associate with. See, I had an opportunity to go to Athens, Georgia, and I got a first-hand look at the types of people that the WTFC attract, the kind of people that cheer for the WTFC. And I have to tell you something. I was not impressed. Will Haynes, I know that you're sitting there and you're thinking, geez, Doozer beat him. If Doozer can beat Sean Jackson, then by God, I can too. Well, Will Haynes, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The difference between the match I had with Doozer and the match that I'm going to have with you is going to be night and day. It's going to be the penthouse and the outhouse. The difference between Dynasty and WTFC. The difference between Sean Jackson and yourself. Again, am I intending and meaning to hurt your feelings or to hurt the feelings of the fans that adore you? No, hardly. I'm just speaking the truth. And as that old saying goes, Will Haynes, the truth will set you free. Understand this, you might have gotten a victory over Spectre, and I can respect that. But again, there's a big difference between Spectre and Sean Jackson, just like there's going to be a big difference between Sean Jackson of 2015 and Sean Jackson of 2014. The Sean Jackson that was nothing more than the human punching bag for James Wingate. But I'm getting off topic. Let me get back to the topic at hand, because at Victory 25, Will Haynes, you're going to see a very, very, very different Sean Jackson. Marie Von Claudio, you posted a question to me on Twitter in referencing to how did that go? Was there any hard feelings about what you did to Catherine Velmont Thomas? Well, Marie, exactly what did you do to Catherine Velmont Thomas? You beat her in a wrestling match. That's between you and Catherine. Not between you and Dynasty, because really you didn't do anything to Dynasty. You didn't do anything to Catherine Velmont Thomas. But again, ask that question to Catherine and see how she responds. But if I had to say something, is there any hard feelings between you and me? Keep doing the yoga. Well, no. Forget that. Forget I was even saying that. Is there any hard feelings between Marie Von Claudio and myself? No, not at all. Not at all is there any hard feelings. You were put into a wrestling match with Catherine, and you did exactly what you were expected to do. What Catherine did after that match is over is between Catherine and Dynasty and nobody else. And really, I'm not even going to touch upon that any further, other than as long as you stay out of Dynasty's way, Marie, as long as you stay out of our way, there will be no hard feelings between you and I and between you and Dynasty. But that can't necessarily be said about the next topic. EWIOnline.com and the Dave Tyrell Report. Dave Tyrell, this is what I'm wanting to know. When you were discussing Dynasty, why did you omit the name Sean Jackson? When you were discussing possible challengers for UTA championships, the Wrestle UTA Championship, the Legacy Championship, the Prodigy Championship, the Wildfire Championship, and the UTA Tag Team Championships, why did you omit the name of Sean Jackson as a possible contender for any of those titles? You see, Dave Tyrell, what makes an individual great at what he does is research. And had you researched Wrestle UTA and Dynasty, you would have known that Sean Jackson was a member of Dynasty and still continues to be a member of Dynasty. You would have known that Sean Jackson is a former Wrestle UTA champion. You would have known that Sean Jackson is a former UTA tag team champion along with Catherine Velmont Thomas. You made a responding tweet, something along the lines of, well, it made me think, it made me believe that you were referencing me as an individual who could not get the job done, as an individual who did not deserve to be in Dynasty, and as an individual who did not deserve to be in Wrestle UTA. Dave Tyrell, had it not been for the Spectre, I would still be the Wrestle UTA champion. Had it not been for the Spectre, I still would have been the Wrestle UTA tag team champion with Catherine Velmont Thomas. Even though Catherine Velmont Thomas is no longer with Dynasty because of, well, I'm not going to get into that because that's Dynasty business. The Freebird rule is in effect for Dynasty involving Perfection, La Flama Blanca, and myself, which would have also included Claude Baptiste Renier had it not been for James Wingate. But let me get back to you, Mr. Tyrell. You see, you should have done your homework. You should have understood that well before any other member of Dynasty held championships in Wrestle UTA, it was me. I held the Wrestle UTA championship. I never even got a rematch for the Wrestle UTA championship. And you know what? I'm okay with that. I was okay with the fact that I did not get a rematch for the Wrestle UTA championship because my stablemate was able to step in and take over. Because coincidentally, one of the main reasons why I never got a rematch at my Wrestle UTA championship was because when Spectre costed me the title, when Spectre came in at Black Horizon and handcuffed me to the ring ropes, he basically, in essence, handed the Wrestle UTA championship over to Madman Zelinsky, who, by the way, went into a coma. I never got an opportunity to cash in a rematch. But again, like I said before, that's okay because in stepped in Perfection. In stepped in Perfection, who was able to get the job done. Not saying that I couldn't have, but I was never given the opportunity to do so. But you see, this raises the interesting question. How did Dynasty get formed? Well, in order for that to be answered, you have to look upon nobody else but James Wingate. It was James Wingate, yes, the Wrestle UTA owner, that allowed Spectre to come in. It was the Wrestle UTA owner, James Wingate, that was barring Perfection and CBR from UTA events. It was James Wingate who was putting them down in the lower class, I believe it was VCW, to wrestle over there instead of in Wrestle UTA. So you see, everybody wants to clown on Dynasty about why we are the way that we are, when it's all the fault of James Wingate. It's all the fault of Spectre. It's all the fault of Madman Zelinsky. It's all the fault of the Shoot Kings. It's all the fault of Chris Hopper. So you see, Dave Tyrell, why don't you take just a couple of seconds to actually research something before you spout off trying to pass it off as the truth? Because I'm going to tell you, just like I explained to Will Haynes, Sean Jackson 2015 is going to be way different than Sean Jackson of 2014. The Sean Jackson who didn't crack open skulls like he should have. Deshaun Jackson, who wasn't the deadly individual that he should have been, who wasn't the individual who should have put careers away. That's not going to be the case in 2015. You see, unlike Pete Carroll, who was too stupid, the paralysis by analysis, who could have won the Super Bowl by just simply handing the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, I'm not going to be that individual. You see, that's what James Wingate has always wanted for Dynasty. He's wanted us to fall by the wayside. He's wanted us to crumble under the pressure. Look what's happened to Catherine Velmont Thomas and Claude Baptiste Renier. You see, me, myself, personally, I want to extend my best wishes to two really good friends. Catherine Velmont Thomas, who should still be the First Lady of Wrestle UTA. I understand that Marie Von Claudio is now calling herself that because she defeated Catherine Velmont Thomas to be able to call herself that. Okay, fine, not a problem. But because of the pressure that has been placed on Dynasty by Wingate and the rest of his suits, Catherine is she's no longer with us. Claude Baptiste Renier. See, I can talk about CBR because he's actually stated what has gone on. And the thing with CBR is that he's been fighting with an addiction problem for months, and that's been because of you, James Wingate. It's your fault that CBR is checking himself into a rehab facility. It's your fault that the Legacy Championship is no longer in the possession of Dynasty, and now is being held by Gentleman Jack, who is another individual that just so happened to be in the right place at the right time. Because had CBR been healthy, had CBR been of his full faculties, you know it, I know it, Dynasty knows it, even Ray Charles can see that there'd have been no way that Gentleman Jack could have ever defeated CBR for the Legacy Championship. Which is the reason why that James Wingate is on a full-blown assault on Dynasty. Catherine's gone. CBR is gone. Who do you think is going to be next, Wingate? Me? You think I'm going to be the next to crumble under the weight of the pressure? You put me into a match at Seasons Beatings called Shock Therapy, in which I've got electrical burns to my back and had to rehab in the hospital, had to rehab at home. And my first match back, you put me in against Doozer because you thought I would be the next to crumble, I would be the next to crack, I would be the next to blow my mind and simply walk away, leaving Perfection and La Flama Blanca by themselves. No, Wingate, I'm not that individual. I'm not that person. Because you see, had it not been for Dynasty, where would I be? I'd still be having my matches interfered in. I'd still be having championships taken from me by the Spectre and you turning a blind eye and ultimately firing individuals, good noble men like Kevin Hawk, who was doing his job in Wichita Falls when he had Madman Zelinsky and Spectre arrested for the things that they were doing wrong, for doing the things that you were too chicken shit to do. And who do you replace him with ultimately? Cancer Giles. Another glad-handed yes man that's going to tell you what you want to hear, Wingate, who's going to do exactly what you want him to do. Well, I'm going to tell you something, Wingate. If you think for 1 second that you're going to continue to have your way with Dynasty, that by having individuals like Dave Tyrell go on Twitter and make comments about how Sean Jackson doesn't belong in Wrestle UTA, how Sean Jackson doesn't belong in Dynasty, like Sean Jackson doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning any championships at the All or Nothing pay-per-view, then you've got another thought coming. Because Wingate, the Wrestle UTA Championship, the Legacy Championship, the Prodigy Championship could all be in the hands of Dynasty. And then what are you going to do? Another reset? Reset all you want. You're not going to stop Dynasty. You don't have it in you. You don't have enough firepower to get it done, because basically, who are you going to go to? You put all your eggs with the Shoot Kings. Madman Zelensky's gone. Graham Clawson's gone on his own. And Thatcher Rex? What about Thatcher Rex? The Shoot Kings are dead. So now, who are you putting in our way? WTFC? You think just because Doozer got a victory over me, and Will Haynes got a victory over Spectre, that all of a sudden now Will Haynes is going to beat me and I'm going to be the weak link to go? See, Wingate, wasn't it you who thought that when Spectre brought in the legends, the Hall of Famers, Crimson Lord, Mr. Fantastic, that even Ron Hall, that somehow or another they were going to be the group to bring us down? You see, you have to understand something. You can't expect a bunch of thugs and thug wannabes and fat, disgusting slime balls and a bunch of old men to defeat Dynasty. Wingate, don't you understand? We enjoy the finer things in life. The homes, the cars, the jets, the women. Don't you get it? Don't you understand what I'm trying to tell you? You're not going to get what you want from WTFC. You're not going to get what you want from Spawn. You're not going to get what you want from anybody except Dynasty. When you finally figure that out, you're going to have everything that you want. Wingate, look at it this way. Who in the hell do you think the people come to see? Do you think they come to see a bunch of thug wannabes? Do you think they want to come? You think they pay to see Bobby Dean? Do you think they pay to see a bunch of old farts, the legends? Do you think that's what they come to see? No. They come to see perfection. They come to see La Flama Blanca, and they come to see Sean Jackson. Because who do you think gets the social media in an uproar? It's Dynasty. Madman Zelensky loses his mind and goes on a 2.5 minute tirade of dropping F-bombs and the whole 9 yards. Who caused that? Dynasty, La Flama Blanca, the heel turn. Spectre comes to wrestle UTA. Why? Because of me. Spectre's here because of me. The legends are here because of Spectre, which in turn is because of me. And everybody wants a piece of perfection. Everybody wants to see if they finally got if they have what it takes to knock off the man on the top of the mountain, which is perfection, which is Dynasty. Wingate, do yourself a favor. Understand where your true money is coming from. It's coming from us. And the sooner that you realize that, the better off you're going to be, and the better off that we're going to be. You want more money? Let us make that for you. We're the ones that are going to put asses in the seats. We're the ones that are going to have everybody coming from all over the place, friends and foes alike. They're going to be cheering us. They're going to be booing us. But they're going to be putting money into the till. A hell of a lot more than WTFC ever will. A hell of a lot more than anybody else on the roster will. But that's neither here nor there. That's for you to decide. You can either be a smart man and realize it sooner, or you can be a stupid individual and realize it later. But eventually you are going to realize it. Well, I think I've ranted on long enough. This is Sean Jackson, and this has been The Mental Breakdown.